I long to hear the voices that say, my body, nobody quite so true.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you all here this evening on behalf of the Winchester Chamber of Commerce to the 10th Outstanding Citizen Award Dinner. In order to set the stage for the individual we're honoring tonight, we have a group who's going to come in and make a brief presentation prior to eating our salads. And that group, I think, epitomizes the type of people who Dr. McLean has served in this community over the years. And so I'd like to welcome in some of his current patients. Come on in. Not you, Peter. Did you all pay the bill?
That's wonderful. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for coming down and being with us this evening. Appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, would everybody rise for the invocation? Let me present to you the Reverend John Bishop.
Let us pray. We give you thanks, O God, for the blessings of this life, and on this occasion of celebration and rejoicing for your servant, Donald, for who he is and for all that he means to us. One who more often than not personifies the best of our humanity. He has lived among us and with us, always present, maintaining the highest professional standards, caring for children, allaying the fears and anxieties of their parents, helping to set the course right for young people, contributing in committee meetings in the life of our town and in the life of his church, teaching young and old alike, offering his wit and wisdom to the passerby on Church Street during breaks from his practice, vested in white coat and all, enjoying the joys of family. Jean, she's the best thing that ever happened to me, we hear him say. Laurie, Donna, Duncan, their families. He is one who loves life, loves people, loves us. Thank you, God, for him. Thank you for this time together in community life. Thank you for the gifts of your bounty as we break bread together. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, if I could, please feel free to eat your salad, and the waitresses feel free to move around here. Let me introduce our head table, such as it is. And on my left and your right, the town manager of Winchester, Mr. Chad Mara. On my left, in all ways, and on your right, the chairman of the Winchester Board of Selectmen, Tom Schmidt. And next, the lovely wife and mother of the McLean children, Jean McLean. And finally, obviously, the man of the hour, the gentleman who is the 10th citizen of Winchester to be so honored by the Winchester Chamber of Commerce, a longtime resident of the town, physician, activist, educator, leader, and a friend of many here, Dr. Donald McLean. I would like to introduce the McLean children, and I would ask them to please stand up. That way everybody in the back of the room and the television folks can see you as well. First of all, Dr. McLean's daughter, Laurie Barron. Why don't you remain standing? My brother Peter told me to do that. And then the son, Duncan McLean. And the other lovely daughter, Donna Duffy. Donna Duffy. And I really should introduce John Duffy, her husband, as well, because he's one of our constituents here. And the McLeans share, I understand the McLeans share, John, with Arthur and Eleanor Duffy from Winchester. So. And your niece Debbie is here. Debbie. Now let me introduce my family, Doc. Oh, no. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, one part of Dr. McLean's life that we all know, if nothing else, by his title, is that of his medical profession and his longtime association here in Winchester with many of his medical colleagues, and in particular with many of the colleagues up at our fine hospital here in Winchester, a hospital that I think has maintained the traditions of outstanding medicine in the Commonwealth. Some of the doctors up there wanted to say a few words this evening, and let me introduce the first one of two, a former patient of yours who made it, a doctor still, not former, and also a parent whose children are under your care. Dr. Leo Cass. Is Dr. Leo Cass here? Please, come on up. We were able to get him for only $25 to speak here. Dr. Leo Cass from Winchester.
Thank you. Like all of you here tonight, I have many images of Dr. McLean, starting with a picture of him looking in my ear when I was 5 years old while I was wearing my skivvies. He looked like a pretty big guy to me right there. 20 years later, his stature grew further as he helped Joy and I raise our 3 children, and while I worked with him as a fellow staff member of the hospital and a fellow parishioner at Epiphany. The esteem I have for Dr. McLean has grown throughout these relationships, and it was this feeling that I tried to convey when I wrote a resolution which the hospital staff presented to Dr. McLean at the annual staff dinner recently. And I'd just like to finish my brief remarks by reading this resolution. Whereas Donald Emerson McLean has been a diligent and hard-working member of the Winchester medical community for over 40 years, since 1947, and whereas Dr. Donald McLean has served as chairman of the Department of Pediatrics of Winchester Hospital from 1957 until 1970. And whereas Dr. Donald McLean has further involved himself in many issues of great importance to the children and parents of Winchester, including the drug abuse education and prevention program, whereas Donald McLean has served his church community in many capacities, including warden, and whereas Donald McLean has synthesized the power of knowledge and the grace of wisdom to minister to so many people, young and old, therefore, be it resolved that the staff of the Winchester Hospital wishes to convey to Dr. McLean its commendation and appreciation for a job well done, and to wish him its very best for many more years of good health and happiness and fulfillment. And be it further resolved that this resolution, unanimously accepted, be incorporated in the staff archives, and a suitably inscribed copy be presented to him. Thank you, Donald.
I'm not sure if it's true at all, Doctor, but I did overhear the chairman of the Winchester Hospital Board, Sumner Andrews, right before the meal here, and I understand he's going to send along a check for $1,000 with that citation from his personal funds. And he's been known for being very generous, and the next speaker is another doctor from Winchester, Dr. Kingsbury. Dr. Kingsbury, I understand, was also a patient. And you also treated his children. And I'd like to welcome him at this time, Dr. Kingsbury.
It's actually not true that I was his patient. Actually, I delivered Dr. McLean. I showed the first draft of my speech to my neighborhood cat, and the cat didn't really think I should be talking about someone who was so into drugs and sex, so I had to throw that away. It's perhaps I was asked because I did come to practice here in Winchester in 1966, and for the next 11 years did work in the same office building as did Donald at 38 Shirt Street. And in that setting, we shared many patients, and in my earlier practice days, I had the opportunity to spend considerable time in his office discussing patients. And I sort of rapidly learned that, as was said of William Harvey 300 years ago, that he practiced medicine with such grace that he seemed to have been born with the talent rather than to have learned it. I discovered also that his clinical acumen was matched by his intellectual integrity. If he had a patient that he needed a consultant, he got a consultant. If the child needed transportation into Boston for some particular additional skill, that child was sent in. There was not a delay in transfer. I found that he had no age limits for his patients. If they felt comfortable seeing him, he felt comfortable treating them. He had an appreciation of their feelings. Now, that's different from joining in the feelings and is certainly very different from ignoring those feelings. He sort of epitomizes the ideals of Sir William Osler in bearing his success with humility and the affection of his friends without pride. But still, there needs to be the key to that success. And after all, he was extremely successful in his care of patients. And I'm reminded of an essay of Francis Weld Peabody that I read as a first-year medical student. And since it was published in 1927, perhaps Donald has read it as well. But in the essay, Dr. Peabody concludes that the secret of the care of the patient is in caring for the patient. And when I think of Donald, I think of someone caring for the patient. Tonight, I hope he knows that that feeling is very mutual, that we, the patients in the community, care for him.
The representative to the Great and General Court from the town of Winchester, longtime resident, obviously, Paul Casey. Paul.
Thank you, John. Or I should say, Mr. Moderator. Dr. McLean, I recently had the honor, or distinction of sitting at a table of 3 doctors and their wives. This was about a month ago for another state affair. And one doctor was a doctor of theology, there was another doctor who was a doctor of philosophy, and the last doctor was a doctor of medicine. And at this table, we were all asked by a handsome, ingratiating Toastmaster, very eloquent, well, what is peace? We were asked, what is peace? The first doctor, that of theology, said that peace is a state of physical or mental tranquility. The second, the doctor of philosophy, said that peace was the absence of war. Now the third doctor, that of medicine, looked up and said, peace is when the last son of the house leaves and the family dog dies. Now, to me, these interpretations of peace are nothing compared to the calm and serenity that most of the families throughout Winchester have felt, knowing that Dr. McLean was caring for their children. On a personal level, I remember when Dr. McLean was caring for my family, namely my brother, because of an absence of our family pediatrician, and one of my brothers was in much pain, and he came home in total agony with, I guess it was a ingrown toenail, and it's something very serious. And Dr. McLean cut it out correctly, and my brother reported it was lots of fun. It shows you what type of brother I have. But I remember thinking that boy, this Dr. McLean, he must really have the magic touch. And indeed he did. For just a few months later, just about a year later, he spoke to my high school student body and inspired most of the individuals there to just say no to drugs. And I have to say that was way before the movements from the executive and from the president, and he was really something before what we consider now a commercialized statement. So I'm here to thank you on behalf of the legislature, Dr. McLean, and especially your wife, because I know she's probably put up with more of it than you have. But I did want to say on behalf of the legislature, I want to congratulate you for using your excellent medical expertise, but also your ingratiating personality, because I know so many people have been affected by you, and everybody in our community, and you are truly a man of all seasons. And on behalf of the legislature, I did have a couple citations. One, the governor's, and I'll give that to the moderator, or John, if he could read that later on. But from the House itself, we have a resolution. And it's a resolution congratulating Dr. McLean on behalf of being named the Winchester Chamber of Commerce Citizen of the Year. Whereas the esteemed Dr. Donald McLean has been named the Winchester Chamber of Commerce Citizen of the Year, is being honored on May 24th of the current year, and resolved that the Massachusetts House of Representatives hereby congratulates Dr. Donald D. McLean on being named the Winchester Chamber of Commerce Citizen of the Year, and extends to him sincere best wishes for continued good health and success in all of his future endeavors, and be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution will be forwarded by the Clerk of the House of Representatives to Dr. Donald McLean. So I want to thank you on behalf of the legislature and on behalf of this community, Dr. McLean, and thank you personally.
You know, it's a big change, don't you, folks? 6 months ago, when he was running for president, they'd all be up here handing it out. Now they give it to me to give Mike Dukakis' citation back. I'm happy to do it, and not that happy, but... Ladies and gentlemen, we do have a citation here from the Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Michael Dukakis, to Donald E. McLean on the occasion of being named the Outstanding Citizen by the Winchester Chamber of Commerce, which is deserving of recognition by all the citizens of Winchester. Witness my hand and the seal of the Commonwealth on this, the 24th day of May in the year 1989. Governor Mike Dukakis. And then just to keep it going, to show you that there are other people that send them in too, to the moderator. This one's from Senator Bulger. Delivered by Senator Sal Albano. Senator Bulger's office actually called today to make sure that this was delivered to the right place. I remember in the days when Whip gave these out, they used to be framed. But then, of course, those Republicans, they had the money, you know. This one here is an official citation from the State Senate. Be it known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to Dr. Donald E. McLean in recognition of being named the Outstanding Citizen of the Year by the Winchester Chamber of Commerce, signed by the President of the Senate, William Bulger, and offered by Senator Sal Albano, our state senator. Dr. McLean. I didn't see him standing up back there. I would have introduced him. The retired representative from the Great and General Court, Whip Saltmarsh. Now an aluminum siding salesman on Mount Vernon Street. Let me, this is better than it used to be, Whip, because you don't get up here anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, I should point out that Representative Saltmarsh was the second recipient of this award, and he won it in 1981. And we're glad you're here tonight, Whip. And I think we have a couple of other recipients here, and I hope I don't miss anybody. We had Clarence Beauregard. Clarence? That's enough, Clarence. Sit down. That's it. For those that follow our gong show in the town meeting, usually I start it and Clarence ends at 10:30. At 10:30, I'll give you a call tonight, Clarence. Also, I believe we have Dr. Lenore Rich. Let me just read the other recipients. I think that those are the... I know Harry's here. Did you win this, Harry? I never knew that. Ladies and gentlemen, Harry Sheffalo, 1987. I apologize, Harry. I had heard when they upped the price from $25 to $30 you weren't coming. The other recipients were Harrison Chadwick, Robert Nickerson, Dr. Kaufman, Jake Chacha, and Harry Sheffalo was last on my list. And Harry, I apologize again for missing you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce at this time the chairman of the Winchester Board of Selectmen, Mr. Thomas Schmidt. Tom?
Thank you, John. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. McLean, Mrs. McLean, it's a great pleasure to be here tonight to honor Dr. McLean. When we were trying to get together a gift for Dr. McLean, we knew that there would be a lot of citations. Mr. Sullivan has read 3 of them. I'm sure there are more to come, and we wanted to do something that would be unique, something that Dr. McLean would remember this evening by. We thought one of the best ways to do that would be through his patients, since I'm sure that's one of the most significant relationships that he has had through his wonderful long career. I happen to work at the institution where Dr. McLean was graduated. His father was graduated, I understand, in 1904. And so we were able to obtain some records that go back a long way. And so we got all the patient records together through the Massachusetts Medical Society and Dr. McLean's office. And we sent out our crack team of investigators and solicitors. And many of the patients are still in Winchester, but many are around the country. And we were able to contact a large number of them. And those who we couldn't get directly, we were able to contact at the door tonight and solicited gifts as well. And so I thought we would make a presentation tonight that it's a gift I hope that many of the patients will remember Dr. McLean by, and I'm sure Dr. McLean will remember them by. Needless to say, this is not a passing fancy. We were indeed gratified by the outpouring of sentiment. Mr. Sullivan tells me he will remain here a little bit after the ceremony, so if anyone wants to make a contribution later, we'd be happy to accept.
That's cute.
As the comedian once said, seriously, folks, it is a great pleasure to be here. As I was coming down tonight, my spouse reminded me that Winchester is very blessed because it has its very own Dr. Spock. And I think that is one of the kindest and most eloquent remarks I've heard in a long time about Dr. McLean. My son was involved at the high school and was directly affected by Dr. McLean's drug program with high school students. And I know he has affected many other lives that way. He is a tribute to our community and a tribute to mankind. And so it's with great pleasure that I present you with this citation from the Board of Selectmen. It says, the entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortunes and continued success in all endeavors. Be it hereby known to all that the Board of Selectmen of the Town of Winchester hereby offers its sincerest congratulations to Dr. Donald E. McLean in recognition of your receipt of the 1989 Outstanding Citizen Award of the Chamber of Commerce. Dr. McLean.
When you think of all the groups that Dr. McLean has been associated with, we naturally think of the government and we think of the medical community, but what we don't think of oftentimes is the people that have worked for him over the years. And I understand that there are a few of his ex-employees that are here, and one in particular would like to bring you the remarks of the chapter. Let me introduce Linda Foote.
Okay. Right. Present tonight are 5 of the 8 secretaries that work for Dr. McLean. And I think that it's a pretty good indication of what a special person he was to us. I'm sure we all heard the same stories, serious and humorous. And I'm all sure that at one time or other, we searched for him up and down Church Street, because quite often, in between patients, he'd go and visit all his friends. He could be in the bank, he could be getting a haircut, he had the travel agency, or he could even be down to Craddock getting his favorite little snack of licorice nips. That was. And when you work for a pediatrician, you think, well, you'll be involved with infants, small children, adolescents. But with Dr. McLean, when the phone rang, you never knew if it was a harried new mother, a frustrated parent of a teenager, a frustrated teenager, people from the Council on Aging, the ABC House, or actually, I think his oldest patient was probably Anna Mae and my grandmother, who was 103 years old. And he quite frequently came and took care of her for us. And the stories we could tell could go on and on. In fact, Anna Mae told me one tonight, she said when she worked for him, she thought maybe it would be nice to take a day off, so she called up and said she was sick, okay? So she was working around the house, and all of a sudden the doorbell rang. And there was Dr. McLean to see if he could help her. So she jumped on the couch and, I don't feel well, Dr. McLean, you know. As I say, we have many stories. We could go on, but we are just all very happy to be here with Dr. McLean to help him receive this award. Do you want the other girls to come up? Would the rest of the girls like to come up? There's Anna Mae Newell.
So we got Anna Mae Newell, Paula Rowe, Marilyn Reeves, and Donna Duffy.
Marilyn Reeves has been very busy making these gifts, but she doesn't have her glasses, so I have to read for her. Marilyn, hold that before I ruin it. It says, to Dr. McLean, our boss, and most of all, our friend. This is the latest Paris creation in earmuff hats, designed specifically for those marvelous ears of yours. They will protect you from bees and black flies in summer and snow and sleet in the winter. Just slip them on and enjoy. You have to open it. You gotta put it on. You gotta put it on. Okay, this to Dr. McLean. This T-shirt was created and designed by the girls, especially for you. We're sure your famous look-alike Clark, many people thought he looked like Clark Gable, would think that this most prestigious Citizen of the Year award is more gratifying than any Oscar Hollywood bestows. Congratulations. I am told to open this one. Oh, very good. There we go. Thank you very much. We enjoyed working for you, as you know. And we won't tell all the stories.
Escrow. Escrow was a retirement. We didn't get those. With the retirement.
Right away.
You know, we had a gentleman visit us early in the session, a gentleman by the name of Russell Wild, who claims to be Dr. McLean's first patient. And we checked it, and essentially he definitely was one of the first patients, and he brought in a gift, which sort of an unusual gift. It's a ceramic ashtray with the footprints of one of the babies that Dr. McLean delivered at 1 week, 1 year, and 2 years. Very exciting gift, Doctor. Thank you. Who's that? Drew Phillips. Mrs. McLean advises me that Drew Phillips is here, who was one of the first 3 patients, too. Mr. Phillips would care to stand. And Russell Wild, why don't you get up? Where's Russell Wild? Russell Wild, up back there. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the groups that Dr. McLean has worked with over the years has been with the senior citizens in town. And at this time, I'd like to introduce to you a gentleman well known in Winchester for his work with the senior citizens, representing the Council on Aging, Vin Berger. Vin?
Thank you, John. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been designated spokesman for the Council on Aging since the chairman, Bob Erickson, is on vacation. We couldn't very well ask the vice chairman, as he is the designated man of the year. And he would go on and on and on, and you know. Don McLean joined the COA in 1983 and attended our bi-monthly meetings during his lunch hour. Our meetings were started at 1 p.m., and at 2 p.m., he would excuse himself and dash off to take care of his kids, as he referred to as patients. Upon retirement, he entered into the program full speed. He served on the planning committee for the pre-retirement program just completed, which was a great success. He joined the senior aftercare volunteers and makes home visits where he goes not as Dr. McLean, but as Don, a friend and a neighbor. When on vacation, he sent postcards to the homebound as one sends cards to his friends. Even with all his experience, he takes the training course with senior aftercare volunteers. Now Vice Chairman of the Council on Aging, he moderated the first intergenerational luncheon of the Eating Together program attended by Winchester High School seniors and Jenks Senior Centers. Dr. Don McLean, physician and friend to the young, advocate and friend to the elderly, has literally saved the people of Winchester from the cradle to the senior center. I was going to say he is a man for all seasons, but Paul Casey stole my line. And what I'd like to remind Paul is that he has to run for re-election in 2 years. Thank you, Don.
Thank you, Vin. Also representing the senior citizens, let me introduce at this time, representing the Jenks Center, Barbara Champa.
One of the nice things about working for the seniors is that they come in and tell you their life stories. And Don told me about an interesting chapter in his life and in Jean's life in Walla Walla, Washington. And did you all know that this pediatrician had done some psychiatric service in a psychiatric hospital in Walla Walla, Washington? Does anyone know that? You know it, of course. You're his family. But the nice thing, again, about stories that the seniors tell is that they tell about 40 years ago when families were separated, and as you all know, or those of you over 30 years of age, there was a war on. And Don and his wife were separated, and it was a very bad time for everyone who couldn't be together as a family. So June Hall, who is our senior aftercare nurse, and myself thought that we'd give you a little musical tribute to Don and Jean. This is one of the songs, in a sense, that tells a little bit about that separation. I'm sorry, I need the... Give me the first word, please. Nights are long since you went away. I long to hear the voices that say, my body, nobody quite so true. I miss your voice, the touch of your hand. I long to know that you understand. My body, your body misses you. Now, it wasn't all kind of sad and sentimental, because the war did come to a close, and people were anticipating that. So there was a song that told about waiting. If you know this, sing along. Now, don't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me. Anyone else but me. No, 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 anyone else but me. Don't go walking down Lover's Lane with anyone else but me till I come marching home. I just got word from the guy who heard from the gal next door to me. A picture of you in a combat hat, and it made such a hit to see. So don't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me till I come marching home. Everybody sing. Don't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me. Anyone else but me. No, 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 anyone else but me. Don't go walking down Lover's Lane with anyone else but me till I come marching home. I just got word from the guy who heard from the gal next door to me. Oh, here's another hat, and it fits you to a T. So don't go walking down Lover's Lane with anyone else but me till I come marching home. He's an admiral now. Wonderful, Don. There's one thing that you haven't heard, and that is that Jean has been a member of the Jenks Center for 10 years now. And she drives for the Volunteer Transportation Program. She has been a long and dedicated transportation person, and we're very grateful to her. And what I do know is that both Don and Jean give love to everyone they serve, and that comes from their own love affair. So I'm just going to sing a little song that tells a little bit about feelings for each other. You all know this. You must remember this. A kiss is still a kiss. A sigh is just a sigh. The fundamental things apply as time goes by. And when two lovers woo, they still say, I love you. On that you can rely. No matter what the future brings as time goes by. Moonlight and love songs never out of date. Hearts full of passion, jealousy and hate. Woman needs man and man must have his mate. On that you can't deny. Here's the singer. It's
and when two lovers cruel,
it's still the same old story.
We still say I love
you. On that you can rely. No matter what the future brings as time goes by.
I'll collect the hats.
When is he going to come to the senior center?
Well, after that festive thing, maybe we ought to have a change of pace and quiet it down a little bit, so we'll have the chief, if you want to get ready, heading up this way. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the sides of Dr. McLean's life that doesn't get much publicity, and I'm sure it's only appropriate that it doesn't, is the work that he has done over the years with the Winchester Police Department. And they would have been very offended, I'm sure, if they were not provided an opportunity to speak, Don, on this festive night for you. And I think it's a special treat that we have tonight Jack McHugh. Jack has just finished almost 40 years on the Winchester Police Department, 16 years as chief, 13. It would have been 14 except for that last week. This is a single, Jack. You get your turn. And Jack served with tremendous distinction in the town, and I think maybe for those that may not know it, there is another testimonial a week from Saturday for Jack. Tickets aren't as expensive, Doctor. I want you to know that. It's also being held out of town with an open bar. Ladies and gentlemen, the now retired Chief of Police, a good friend of mine, a good friend of many people here, Jack McHugh.
That was some introduction. Kathy Alexander asked me if I'd just say a few words. She said, very few, Jack, not 20 minutes. I said, I'll see what I can do for you. I'm delighted to be here tonight, truly. This man and I go back, our careers paralleled. I went on the police department in '49. He had about a year and a half of service in town at that time. He took care of my 8 children. He's taken care of part of my 17 grandchildren. He's family. There's no other way that I can say it. He's a man that can never pass you on the street. No matter what was going on, he'd say, "Hi, Jack." But you all know him in your own significant way. I know him as a different person. As a young sergeant looking for advice, I looked at people like Dr. McLean. As a young lieutenant, feeling my way through the community, getting a sense of what was going on, many times I discussed things with Dr. McLean. I can go back to the early '60s when the drug culture or the drug epidemic, as you might want to call it, struck our community. There were very few people who were aware of what drugs could do. The police department was floundering. The administration was grasping for help at any angle. And lo and behold, in our midst, we had a person by the name of Dr. Donald McLean. Now, Dr. McLean was instrumental in forming the concern group. He was instrumental in teaching the police department and many other people about the evils of drugs. And during every episode or every situation that he encountered, he was a professional man, a man of high standards, a man who never revealed the source of his information, a man who was constantly concentrating all his efforts on some youngster, some young adult, some junior high school kid. I heard somebody say he had some psychiatric training. I think he may have written a couple of the books because he had the insight and the ability to help people. We had 43 police officers in the Winchester Police Department during my tenure there. I like to say that we had 44, and this man did the work of 40. Believe me. I could go on and recount some incidents, and maybe he might blush a bit. And maybe I should, but I won't. But it gives me a great deal of pleasure to be here tonight. And just to say thank you on behalf of the Winchester Police Department and the town of Winchester for everything you've done for us, Doctor.
Thank you, Jack, and I know everybody here wishes you well in your retirement, and we look forward to seeing you a week from Saturday. I'll probably get in for nothing now. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. McLean just told me that he understands that there's a couple here who is celebrating their 48th wedding anniversary, Mr. and Mrs. Ray and Eunice Chase, right here on this night. Usually when we have an affair like this and there's a citizen honored in the town of Winchester, it's usually something of a very singular focus. Somebody has, for example, been an outstanding leader in the government, or somebody has been an outstanding professional in whatever profession they follow. And Dr. McLean has a unique background in that so many elements of his life are represented by things that are entirely different than his, what some people might consider his main focus. One of the things that he has dedicated a tremendous amount of time to here in Winchester, actually from its inception, is the so-called ABC House. And I think that for those that remember the initiation of that program, you will find at its roots none other than our guest of honor this evening. And representing the ABC House, I'd like to introduce at this time Bonnie Holmes.
I have three things to tell you about Dr. Don, all of which you already know, and all of which will embarrass him. First, he's an absolutely wonderful human being. Second, he's a wonderful doctor. And third, he's a wonderful friend. But I was asked to tell you about Don's part in ABC. And not surprisingly, he's been wonderful there too. When one or two of us thought that the ABC program would be mutually beneficial in this town, we knew we needed a core of community leaders behind it. people who, by the moral force of their example, would encourage others to be supportive of the program. Clearly, Don was one of those important people. Not only did he immediately lend his own support and professional services to those first 10 young men who came here, but quite soon, and typically without any of us on the board knowing any specifics from Don, the entire medical community was also contributing their services to these kids, and they continue to do so today, 17 years later. Don brought to the ABC program what he brought to all of us as patients and friends, that quiet, assuring sense of perspective that always made even the worst seeming a crisis appear not only manageable, but even with his insight to have inherent elements of humor. You've all heard that lovely drawl with which he responds to a problem. Well, now. Not only the individual students who wore a path to his office across the street, but to the entire ABC program, Don was always available, always the healer, solving more than physical hurts. It's wonderful to have an opportunity to say publicly, thank you for more than substantial contribution. Don, you're wonderful. Everybody sing. Don't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me. Anyone else but me. No, 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 anyone else but me. Don't go walking down Lover's Lane with anyone else but me till I come marching home. The apple tree with anyone else but me. Anyone else but me. No, 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 anyone else but me. Don't go walking down Lover's Lane with anyone else but me till I come marching home.
One of the other groups that Dr. McLean has donated a lot of his time and effort to over the years is the Winchester Scholarship Foundation. I'm beginning to wonder if you were ever home. Representing them here this evening is Dan Legata. Dan?
John, it's a great pleasure to be here tonight. When this was organized a few weeks ago, I was told that it was to be a very serious event, that we were to make a very short comments about our experiences with you, and I'm very pleased to see that it has been a very serious event. I'm not sure what Selectman Schmidt would have brought if it wasn't a serious event, and I'm glad that John also has kept it in a very serious tone. But it's been a great pleasure for me tonight to pinch hit Don for the president of the Winchester Scholarship Foundation, who couldn't be here this evening, Nancy Clark. But tonight I'm here to acknowledge the support that you have provided the youngsters in Winchester by your involvement in the Winchester Scholarship Foundation. I don't think it should come as a surprise to anyone that when asked to help, Don readily volunteered to help at the foundation. After all, it was just another way to help the kids. But many people may not know or be aware of his true dedication to the program. However, perhaps this involvement and dedication can be measured by a little story I'd like to tell you. When my son, Christopher, learned that I would be speaking tonight about Dr. McLean's contributions to the Winchester Scholarship Foundation, he said, "Dad, I know that Dr. McLean was very dedicated to the foundation." And I asked him how he knew this. And he said to me that when he would walk home from the McCall Junior High School every day, he would cut through the parking lot at 38 Church Street. And there he would see Dr. McLean's car parked in the lot with a large red Winchester Scholarship Foundation sticker on the window. And anyone who would place a red sticker on the window of a classic Mercedes had to be dedicated to the cause. Well, the Winchester Scholarship Foundation was just another vehicle for Don McLean to contribute to our community. And tonight, Don, the Winchester Scholarship Foundation wants to thank you for your dedication to the financial needs of our kids. Thank you very much.
Why don't you just stand here for a few minutes and let everybody see that nice-looking suit you get on.
This is a private joke.
Yeah, I know you got to have it back by 11, but let me introduce at this time Sue Chase, Sue Powers. I remember you, Sue, when you lived across the street. It was Sue Chase, and then you married that selectman, Steve Powers. Sue Powers, please.
I have a gift here from the Friends of Donald E. McLean. It's a group that started last spring, and some of you may have been able to join us. We had a wonderful festivities here for good old Uncle Don, as some of us still call him. And yes, my husband, at 30-some-odd years of age, did go in and say to Don one day, "Help, I need my blood pressure checked." He's needed it checked a few more times since then, but anyways. We continue to collect these funds towards the Scholarship Foundation because this was something that we felt very appropriate and something that was requested by the family. With some support of some of the people where I work at Winchester Hospital, we proceeded forward to search out for some more support in this, and I'd like to hand to Dan Lagarda tonight this wonderful check in Don McLean.
Thank you very much, Sue. This 30 more seconds, John. I just want everyone to know that the Winchester Scholarship Foundation, with this gift, will establish a scholarship in the name of Donald E. McLean to be given each year to a deserving youngster in Winchester. To let you all know, those of you who would like to contribute are welcome to do so in the honor of Don McLean. We think it's a great way for every year to show our appreciation for Don McLean in Winchester.
Thank you, Dan. If you give the checks to me, I'll make sure that they get right to Dan. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a very unusual pleasure every second Tuesday of every month meeting with Donald for I don't know how long now, but Don and I serve on the board of the Winchester Cooperative Bank, and I see Don in a different light than a lot of people do, as kind of a rough and tough businessman, and he does a wonderful job on the board there, and he brings to us, who come from all different walks of life, brings to us a reminder that at all times that we're in the business of selling money and that and not being just mean old bankers. And he brings my favorite word to life, really, to our board, and that word is empathy. He's got it, and it's with a capital E. And on behalf of the Winchester Cooperative Bank, at this time, I'd like to introduce the bank's president, Ed Goodwin. Ed?
Thank you, Mr. Sullivan. I have to call him Mr. because he's my boss as chairman of the board of directors of the Winchester Cooperative Bank.
Correct.
You told me to say that. Dr. and Mrs. McLean, members of the head table, ladies and gentlemen. We are here tonight to honor Donald McLean, the pediatrician, the family doctor, our friend. But there's another side to Don McLean, as John Sullivan just attested to, and that is the business side. For over 20 years, Don McLean has served the board of directors and the finance committee of the Winchester Cooperative Bank. Don, all of your fellow directors searched their hearts and their souls for an appropriate symbol of their esteem for you. We thought of maybe a ship's clock, something to that effect that maybe you could enjoy in your lovely home in Scituate when you have your leisurely hours. And then we searched our minds once more, and we thought that that was something that wouldn't quite express what we felt for you. After many hours of deliberation and going back and forth amongst ourselves, we thought there would be nothing more appropriate than to perpetuate your love for the youth of Winchester. It was unanimously decided amongst your fellow directors, Don, to present a check to you tonight in the amount of $1,000 for the Donald E. McLean Scholarship Fund in care of the Winchester Scholarship Foundation. Congratulations, Don. Thank you. God bless you, and good health. John, would you do the honors as chairman of the board?
Thank you, Ed. Ladies and gentlemen, none of this evening would be possible without the Winchester Chamber of Commerce. And at this time, let me introduce the president of that organization, Tony Albiani. Tony.
I think it's a pretty tough act to follow, huh? Give you my check right now. No, we're all thrilled at the Chamber of Commerce to have a night like this. I have to tell you first that John Sullivan is also a recipient of the Citizen of the Year. He forgot to mention that, so I thought that maybe his mother would like to. Must have been an oversight, huh? Yeah. Also, you know, a night like this takes a tremendous amount of work. It could never happen without the tireless effort of Kathy Alexander. I just want you to know that. But it's a real honor and a privilege to be a part of this night, Dr. McLean. And on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce, I'd like to present you this gift. This is a heavy one, you better get up.
We've heard this evening from Don's church. We've heard from the community. We've heard from the government. We've heard from some of his friends. The one group we haven't heard from is the group who we will never hear from. And those are the people that Don has helped in times of trouble. Those are the stories that will never be told here, and the stories that some people in this room know all too well. And they're the stories of kids in trouble. They're the stories of kids that didn't quite make it. And they're the stories of older folks in trouble and people who need help. And a guy like very few people that I know was always there. And on behalf of those people, I think is the real reason that Don deserves this award here in Winchester. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce at this time our guest of honor, a good friend of everybody in Winchester, Don McLean. Don McLean.
Otherwise, I much more enjoy the applause. I think, but if I may, I would like to pass on a few words, and so I can find them. I want to thank each and every one of you for your vital part in making this evening so memorable and so meaningful to me. The roasting was medium rare, didn't mind it at all, and I want to express my affection and my appreciation to the Winchester Chamber of Commerce for designating me as a Citizen of the Year. I am deeply moved and touched by this single honor and for many warm expressions of goodwill that have followed. To receive such an honor in a town where so many deserving and outstanding candidates come as a complete and staggering surprise. It should be noted that the method of selecting and informing a candidate as used by the Chamber is effective enough to establish a new and highly effective stress test. Certainly this is not an experience for one faint at heart. Winchester has amply rewarded me many times over for whatever services I have rendered, and Winchester is unique in characteristically gives more than she ever asks for. The many dedicated, talented, and remarkable people I have known throughout the years have left a very lasting impression. Now I turn to a subject close to my heart, the children and the teenagers of my practice. All I really needed to know about quality living I could have learned from them over the last 40 years. They demonstrate faith, courage, trust, humor, honesty, affection, and total allegiance. As Dr. Lenore Rich, whom I'm so delighted came tonight from the Rehabilitation Center, we have had many wonderful tete-a-tetes, and we sometime may write a book together, but at any rate, we agree on one definite thing, and that is that the association with youth is one of the most rewarding experiences you can have, and to have missed it would have been a tragic loss. And Lenore, I still believe that, and I know you do, and we get walking around town. The humor is especially wonderful, for it is spontaneous, unsophisticated, and refreshing. And I would like to share with you 2 small episodes out of many, and my girls down here know the many. Some of them we can't tell. These we can tell. Danny was 5 years old at the time of his routine physical examination. We were facing each other as I was looking down his throat, and all of a sudden his eyes popped and great expression of surprise came. He yelled out, "Hey, Ma, look at those gigantic ears." And, well, this did not come as a surprise to me because I've worn them for years. And, but I did know that my ward was in very grave danger. And so I turned quietly to the mother and I said, "Mrs. So-and-so, on the way home, please don't reprimand Danny. He said what he saw." And I said, "My theme song is Red Sails in the Sunset." And she very demurely smiled and said, "Thank you." And Danny managed to live. The second one, and I'm sorry I'm picking males. I'm not a sexist. The girls have said just as funny things. This just happened to be the 2 I picked. The second event involved a 7-year-old boy by the name of Jason. Now, Jason had been sick for several days with a sore throat. And finally, he he got his mother to call me, and she stated, "Jason thinks he is sick enough to see you." She obviously did not think so. Well, Jason did have a very sore throat. As a matter of fact, a strep throat, which he responded very well to medication, and I thought that was the end of it. But I got a letter in the mail the next week, and it read as follows. Dear Dr. McLean, I just want you to know you are, I just want to thank you for being a good doctor. I'm feeling fine except for a slight cold. If I ever feel as bad as that again, I'll have my mother call you right away, or I'll call you myself. And this is the funny part. And finally, she said, she doesn't know too much about sick kids. She can't help it. Love, Jason, grade 2. And then at the very end of that letter was an appendage by the mother who said, Jason had his own ideas about the last 2 sentences, which, as you may remember, she doesn't know much about sick kids. She can't help it. Finally, being family-oriented, I want to express my affection and gratitude to several families. To my medical family, including all associated with the health care of this community, my fellow physicians, the nurses, the technicians, my secretaries in the hospital, and Lord knows my secretaries in the office. And not ever to forget the telephone answering girls, because by golly, they do something great. 2, I would like to express my appreciation to my ecumenical church family throughout the entire town, all the churches that have supported and have helped in so many ways in so many difficult times, and especially to my family of the parish of the Epiphany. To the community family composed of the town officials, the school faculty, the policemen, which Jack has mentioned here, and we can't go deeply into that because it's very confidential, and the firemen, and as well as the businessmen who have given their time, their talents, and their expertise, as well as their finances, in many times when our youth were in real crises. And some of us know what the crises were, and it was nobody else's business anyway. My dear and wonderful family has been introduced already, so I will not put them through it again. I do just want to mention that God's reward for growing old is to have grandchildren. And I do want to remember Jesse and Courtney and Usha and Cameron. Again, I want to thank you very much for this wonderful evening, this unique honor, and for the very many years of friendship. Thank you.
And a little special round for Gene McLean.
You must remember this. A kiss is still a kiss. A sigh is just a sigh. The fundamental things apply as time goes by. And when 2 lovers woo, they still say, I love you. On that you can rely. No matter what the future brings as time goes by. Moonlight and love songs never out of date. Hearts full of passion, jealousy and hate. Woman needs man and man must have his mate. deny. Here's the singer. It's
And when two lovers cruel,
It's still the same old story.
we still say I love you.
On that you can rely. No matter what the future brings, as time goes